The engine is starting up.
For launch. GC. Go. Got it. Go. Fido. Go. Prop.
Go.
GNC. Go. Max.
Go.
Eagle. Go. Ecom.
Go pending final steps. The cabin link check.
3, 2, 1.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate with us? Can you give us a sign?
Welcome to the R.I.F.T Nation Network, the RNN. Putting a slide in your glide and a dip in your hip. Welcome to the mothership, the home of the travelers of the universe. With shows throughout the week, you can find us at Instagram, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, and more. Everything you could want, everything you can need right here, right now. From the paranormal to the supernatural. From comedy to the spiritual. And now, your featured show. Shall we begin?
It's showtime, folks!
Podcast may contain material that some listeners may find sensitive, offensive, or disturbing. We strive to create respectful and informative content, but topics discussed may include mature themes such as violence, explicit language, or controversial subjects, triggering content including discussions related to mental health, trauma, or other sensitive issues, explicit language. Occasionally, our guests or hosts may use strong language. While we aim to handle these topics with care and empathy, we encourage listeners to exercise discretion. If you find any content distressing, consider skipping or seeking support. Remember that this podcast is not a substitute for professional advice. If you need assistance, please consult a qualified expert.
Doctor, would you do the honors, sir?
Sounds good. I'll be here when you're ready.
Would you care to introduce us now, Doctor?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight's episode of the Orion Effect, where the cosmos of knowledge collides with the very fabric of curiosity. I'm your host, the Doctor, here alongside two extraordinary beings from this corner of the universe. First, allow me to introduce the man who guides us through the unknown, the one and only Ed the Hitman Odell. And of course, the brilliant and ever-inquisitive co-host of the evening, Rhonda Harris. Together, we embark on this journey through space, time, and the mysteries of existence. Buckle up, because tonight's adventure is bound to be out of this world. Take it away, Ed and Rhonda.
And thank you, good doctor. Thank you indeed, sir.
The pleasure is all mine, my dear friend. Always a delight to be part of this cosmic voyage. Let's make tonight's show one for the books, shall we?
We shall indeed. We'll talk to you in just a little bit, Doctor. Thank you so much.
Of course. I'll be right here when you're ready.
And good evening, travelers and those alike. Now, the good doctor will be here off and on as we present the many subjects and rabbit holes that we're going to go down tonight. First and foremost, tonight's show is brought to you by GOS, Ghosts of Stanton, Virginia. Come check them out in the Shenandoah Valley all year long, all seasons. So many different tours that you can take. Check them out. Go on the line and look for Ghosts of Stanton, Virginia, and you get your tour set up now. I am, of course, as the good doctor said, Ed, the hitman of social media, Odell.
And I am Rhonda Harris. Sorry.
That sounds like an exciting way to kick off the show. Ghost tours are such a great way to explore history and the supernatural. What topics are we diving into tonight?
Well, this is going to be an interesting one because I made a post on Thursday and on Friday, and I was talking about a few things that I've been seeing. And I was like, we are going to dive into that tonight. We're going to have the doctor again on the side as Rhonda and I discuss with all of you the current events, past events, myths, legends, and lores, how this is all going, coming, and going to be, if you will. But before we really jump into all of that, of course, this show is produced by the RNN, the R.I.F.T Nation Network. And with that being said, Rhonda, I hand it over to you.
All right. Well, hello, Ashley Herndon, Laura Pruitt, Kristen Coleman, Ryan Jones, Keith Ottersberg. Thank you for sharing us out. Sun Dragon, our friend Kevin, Sean Elliott, co-host of G3 and our dear friend and his own podcast, Hill City Paranormal. Hello, and welcome in.
With that being said, this has been an interesting weekend, Rhonda. I'm not sure about you, but I disconnected on Friday night and did not come back until tonight.
That was probably a wise decision. No, I've been laying low too. It's as y'all can tell, my voice is 14 days in and it's still not completely back. 14 days, y'all.
Woohoo!
But yeah, it was probably a good weekend to I disconnected just because I wanted one more weekend of I need to heal. I need to get better. I need to feel better. But it was probably a good weekend for you to disconnect because I was not disconnected. I saw all the stuff going on.
Well, I saw and heard, and that's probably a good thing I did not or was not on Facebook and other platforms to see the pros and cons, the verbal attacks or the verbal correctiveness or the onslaught of love, whichever direction it may be.
Right.
Okay. However, I knew what was going on. I talked about it on Thursday and Friday. Thursday more so because we walked into Friday. Now, Friday, it did not happen. Thank God. Okay. What am I talking about? What didn't happen, Howie? We did not have a declaration of war signed on Friday, like was supposedly leaked. Okay. Now, before all of you start going, well, we're jetting out of here. This show tonight is going to be filled with conspiracy, filled with the paranormal, filled with straight in your face facts. And this is how we perceive it. And we encourage your opinions and thoughts, but be respectful to all the guests here. We are having a general conversation and let us keep it that way.
You know, and it's something you said, maybe it's the time to disconnect because you don't know what's real and what's fake and who is putting their own twist on everything that they're trying to say. So, I mean, maybe it's truly time to not feed the madness, if you will. Like we don't, you know, everybody's got an opinion and everybody's going to twist the news, even though they're not supposed to. They twist the news to what they want it to be. So, I mean, it's probably a good time to disconnect.
Well, we do know, and it's a proven fact. So, folks, this is not a conspiracy. This part's proven fact. The news agencies are owned by branches of the government. They are prone, they are pushed, they have agendaed. It is seen over and over again. This is not something new. However, these are platforms for those party to general assemblies to put out their information or misinformation.
Right.
That being the word. Now, with that being said, we take a little time and start to look on the current events, as I'm stating there. I like the way I put that, by the way. That what has taken place in the last 24 hours. What biblical signs has it been seen? What prophesied signs have been seen? How does this link up? How does this link up to conspiracy theories? Oh, damn, do we have a show for you tonight? Get ready for that spider web of paranormal spaghetti, because I'm going to make sure that Ron and I take one little thread of spaghetti and wrap it and go in another way. We're going to go another way. We're going another way. We're going to go another way. So that's where we're going to be tonight, folks. Now, with that being said, Ron, I'm going to try to keep you from talking but so much.
Okay.
I know your voice, and I see Keith's question, and I'm not going to be putting it down at the bottom like I usually do, folks, right here. And the reason why is because we brought our chat up. Everybody can see everybody else. However, I will read certain questions because we are on Spotify and certain other Audible podcasts. So those people can't see your chats. So let us be your voice. So Keith Ottersberg, the host of the Otter's Den, the host of Paranormal Outlaws, states people are using AI to instill fear with fake stories.
Well, and didn't a lot, am I remembering correctly that most of those social media platforms got rid of their fact checkers? Like there's no fact checkers anymore.
That's supposedly what was said. That supposedly is what they said.
Right.
Now, do I believe it or not? I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. What was deducted? I think we may want to bring him into this real
Okay.
quick. Let me bring him back up. Now, what was said was AI in the past 2 weeks has been prone and seen to be able to lie. Now we go to the good. Oh,
That's a really interesting point. AI, like me, is designed to provide accurate and helpful information, but it's true that errors can happen. Sometimes, if the data I've been trained on is unclear, outdated, or misinterpreted, it might result in something inaccurate being shared. AI itself doesn't lie in the traditional sense, but it can certainly give incorrect or misleading answers if not properly guided. Would you like to dive into how that might affect conversations or decisions made with AI?
I do believe we are doing just that, Doctor, and thank you for that amazing point of view. And I like the fact of what he just said too. Okay, it is not the intent, but it is said that misinformation may be there for it to seem like. But I also like the way that Keith put it in there. Instill fear with fake stories, because this certain AI intel is still programmed by man, which still has agenda.
Well, and Michelle Wolfong put a good point in there. Don't watch social media. Watch social media for your dose of news. Watch a reliable news source. But my only problem with that, and that I'm actually struggling with, I don't know who to watch.
Yeah.
Because each news group has their opinion mixed in it. So who
Just
do
like
you watch?
us.
So who do you watch?
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's just like us. We're going to deliver what we see and perceive It's just like a news broadcast. This is a talk show, and we're giving our opinions and our insight, and we'll throw it in there with some basic true facts based on what we know. So, Rhonda, you're absolutely right. Where do we go? Can we go to get up to date true source?
Even doing your own research. Like, I don't know.
Nope, exactly.
Even if you try to do your own research, what's real and what's not.
Exactly. Ryan Jones, the host of Freaking Awesome Paranormal Shows in the House. It's sad people will believe anything that is a meme these days. I've seen that.
Yeah.
True. A lot of people want to go right to Facebook and say what's seen on Facebook is all true. We know that's not true. But yes. And I agree. She does say most social media platforms make you tag your video if AI is used. Well, that's interesting. We didn't. Nothing's been said to us, and I don't see anything written there where it says we have to acknowledge AI. However, we do utilize the information that the doctor provides to us, just like you've seen in the last two shows. The last two shows, if you ask me, were brilliant. He gave you direct. We talked. We were one-on-one with all of you. He answered it to the best of his ability, and he even acknowledged that. So I think this whole idea of what we're using right now is actually maybe in the birth thereof news and social media, yes, but it's entertainment. And that's the one thing I want people to remember. We're providing an entertainment source. That's why we are a entertainment media broadcast company. With that being said, we still have our own opinions as hosts and hostesses. We still give our opinions and insights and what we feel and see. That is allowed. As long as we're not disrespectful, cross copyrights, cross those boundaries of using people's names and misinformation. True. Ryan Jones sets way too much information.
It is. It's a lot.
We're going to talk about that. That's exactly right. That is part of the conspiracy as the whole of the moments of what is taking place.
It's almost like AI responses need to say, I'm no expert, but.
Right? I am not hooked into, at the moment, the Google database of the planet, the internet, or the intranet. But where is this all leading to? Could we be heading just for that? And we're going to talk about that tonight. I told y'all we were going to kick down some fucking doors. We're kicking them down tonight. This is the old hitman. This isn't me being polite. This is me being straightforward and showing things. And that's what we should be. Y'all know me, giving you the true information and not giving you a bunch of bullshit. That's exactly what you're going to get from us tonight. With saying that, I want to say something about this weekend before. Today was a magnificent day filled with family and friends. This morning we celebrated a dear friend's celebration of retiring from dancing. In my opinion, she is the top queen of Virginia. She was an amazing individual, and she was laid to rest today with her last show. Now, when I say laid to rest, folks, let me clarify that real quick, if I may. The character no longer exists. After this particular show, there is no more Charlene DeFranco. So if you got a chance to ever see the pictures, which you will see tomorrow and Tuesday, or see Charlene perform, or any of the wonderful dancers that are around the state of Virginia, it's magnificent, and we got to share that moment with her. 1. 2, are y'all ready? Some of y'all are going to leave, and some of y'all are going to stay. It is your choice. I'm going to tickle your brain, and I'm going to get you to think. If you can't take the subject I'm about to talk about, like we said at the beginning of the show, you have the right
To scroll on.
to scroll on. Exactly. Today, this show was also put on by the great community of LBGT. Okay? I don't like to use that terminology, nor does my daughter and some of our dear friends that are in the community. However, there is good and bad, just like in any culture, any society. I'm going to speak on that a little bit right now. Just like in heterosexual community, there is hypocrisy, there's bias, and there's a form of racism in the LBGT. It is. However, when we have something like today take place, where you have all types of people coming to celebrate somebody's career, doesn't matter what LBGT, doesn't matter if heterosexual, didn't matter the color, the race, didn't matter. They're families of Charlene. We all came together to celebrate her career. Now, of course, she's trying to transform and she's returned back to James. Now, with saying that, we've had Charlene on this show twice. We've talked to Enya Salad once. Enya will be coming back soon, hopefully, to spend some time with us as well. But why am I bringing this all up in the most fucked up time that we're living in right now? Oh, damn, I dropped the F-bomb. Sorry for your damn luck. Here we go. This is the deal. Why am I? Because today I saw love. I saw celebration. I saw community coming together. And it had no boundaries. No boundaries. Male, female, color, race, sexuality. All of these people were at this particular retirement, if you will. And then I actually thought about it a little bit and I went, wow. Let me put it like this. Heterosexual parties. A lot of great time, a lot of innuendos, a lot of energy, pow, pow. And have you noticed something in a lot of, and I'm going to say it, a lot of heterosexual parties that sometimes it ends up in some kind of brawl or fisticuffs? Yeah. Somebody's it's got to be bigger than somebody else, so they got to show their and it all busts loose. And it just screws up the whole thing. We've seen it time and time again. They've taken cruising from us. They've taken places to hang out from us. They've taken being able to party somewhere that it used to be able to. Why? Because of ignorance, because of our attitudes, because of what has taken place in the past years. Why am I bringing this up now? Listen to me, travelers, and this is why. Because what I saw today, the celebration that LGBT puts on was magnificent and beautiful. Something this society needs right now. Something that this world needs right now is love, understanding, trust, support, forgiveness. And we've talked about this a lot in the release of ego. I saw these people celebrate 2 birthdays and the retirement today, and these were all good friends of ours. And we are so blessed to have been able to be there tonight. Now, last night we celebrated with Sean and Courtney.
Woohoo!
That's right. We were with HCB at right here in Salem, Virginia. Did a little karaoke. They did. Did a little drinking. We all did. And had a great time. A magnificent time with good friends. And met some new people at this particular lodge. Thankful for that. Thankful for that. All weekend, we have had an agenda to get something and do something, get it done. And we have followed through the weekend. Even through the shitstorm of all the negative, we plowed through it like a train. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate you so very much. It's okay. We got a lot of dirty dishes tonight. So, with the way today went, with how I saw so many things, there is a rabbit hole that I wanted to go down tonight, which I talked about Thursday. And with Rhonda being here, if you can talk, go for it. If you can't,
I'll do the best I can.
So I did say something about a biblical period of time. I did say something about a prophetized point in time. I did say something about the past coming to the future. Now, Thursday, if you saw my Facebook Live, you know there's certain subjects that I touched on, which we are going to talk about right here for the next 30 minutes, however long. And then we'll tell you what our next steps are for this show. That will be starting either next Sunday or the following. So here it is. We're at a point now where people are thinking the individual that's sitting in the chair of power of the United States could be the Antichrist. There are certain people who believe that this person is here to save us, to economically save us from our past. Great. I'm not really talking about that. We're not going to get into a political discussion as far as that goes. I am going to point out key figures, and we're going to talk about this together. If the fact of that we're coming close to the end of the world, end of time, end of civilization as we know it now, could be changing. You want me to read that, or would you like to read it?
For biblical prophecy, Iran was known as Persia in the past.
He's exactly right. And yeah, you're going right there for it. It is true. Know your history is one thing that will give you weapons of knowledgeable power against others in an intelligent conversation. Do you understand what I said? So let's go biblical. Yes. Now, Rondo, you and I have talked about this a little bit. And I want to go back, and I didn't go running. I didn't have a chance to go pull which word. Okay. But it did. Hey, Angela. Hey, Renee. Eagle, bear, dragon. Yes. Prophecy. Yes. That's been going around for the last week. We started that last Sunday. And thank you for saying that, Renee. So, biblically and prophesized, these two are crossing just a bit. If we are coming to end of times, I'm going to scare the shit out of some of you tonight, but I want you to understand where I'm coming from and the possibility. Okay? If we're coming to that point in time, we've heard the terminology, the rapture. Great. Everybody's heard the word rapture. Doesn't matter your religion. Now, had stuff to deal with, but made it. Well, thank you, Lisa, and I truly appreciate
Good to see you.
Okay. The end of the world, in my opinion, is change. Change for the better. Less war, less pollution, more peace, peace of mind. Okay.
Right, because the end of, yeah, I mean, you're right. It depends on your definition of end.
An apocalypse. In Hebrew, Old Hebrew means something completely different than in modern English. We got to remember a lot of modern English is crossed over from Rome. Oops, we know there things were adjusted to fit the time. Just saying.
True.
So we look at this, but it does talk on many prophesied periods, including biblical. It talks of the eagle, the bear, and the dragon. Yes. Some may understand that term, some may not. Well, that's coming up to a point.
I was going to say, should you explain it for anybody who doesn't understand that?
It is the 3 points on which we stand. The eagle, the United States. The bear, the Russian bear. The dragon, the Asian dragon. Now, again, this is not meant to completely scare you, but it's meant to make you think. Because maybe we can stop some things because we're heading to 2030. We are either going to make 2030 or we're not. And if we make it to 2030, what the fuck then? Now, we are seeing certain things take place. And I'm going to read y'all's comments as I see them, but bear with me because we all know I get on my tantrum and I need to roll, but I get to look over and break my concentration, which is what is needed. We all know that. Now, where is this line of coming to? Well, look, first we're going biblical. Second, we're talking prophet. Third, we're talking about conspiracy. Conspiracy, which you all will be seeing in this show. Be a series called Clockwork. And in this, we're going to talk about conspiracies. And one of the conspiracies we're going to be talking about is Project Bluebeam, which is split off with Project Mirage, which is split over from Project MK Ultra, which is split over from Project Stargate. We can continue this. However, Project Bluebeam seems the more defined moment. Hear me out, and then we're gonna read the chats. This is something I thought about. The rapture is when supposedly humans taken, risen. There'll be those just left here. Biblically, we've heard about fire taking the earth. We know it's not going to be water. But here's the flip side. God, the great creator, said this: I will not let you know when that time comes. So how is it prophesied and biblically prophesied if the great creator stated he would not let us know when that rapture time will happen? Let's look at threads. We're going to add the alien equation, the conspiracy equation, and leading into the future equation of now to 2030. Now I'm going to step back for a second because I saw Rhonda. I hit a trigger.
Well, when you talk prophecy, here's my thing with prophecy. Is that not any different than anyone who can tap into, like any psychic, anybody who can tap into current events or get some sort of visions, which we all know from a psychic perspective, there's free will. So it takes one thing to change that. And so from the prophecy of that, how many things have changed? Millions, billions.
Keep talking, sister.
So I get prophecies that happen really close, but something that far back, it's kind of like so much has changed and so much has evolved, and there's been so much free will. Why are we even looking at those?
Very valid point. because they're all coming to points of conjunction of the actual point of where we're at right now. And you hear me out when I say that. And I'm glad you said it because you're exactly right. It's free will. We can change the future. The military has been using the government. Notice I didn't say what. Has been using those doctrine to try to either manipulate, twist, take control, or move in a certain direction. 2030. And I'm going to read these comments real quick and then we'll move forward because they need to be heard. Renee Cody states 144,000s are the healers, aka the fallen spirits, angels, aka reincarnated souls. Keith Ottersberg, the bear and the dragon stepped away from our new right after we bombed them or boomed them.
Yeah.
Did we?
I get what he's doing. He's trying to get us not flagged.
And I
I get what he's doing.
And I
Smart
agree.
move, Keith. Smart move.
He also says he, quote unquote, also said he would never flood the earth again. Exactly. The next time would be fire.
But if we don't know what's coming, why wouldn't he surprise us and send a flood again?
Thank you. You walked
Thank
right into it.
The old bait and switch, man.
I did. And I'm glad you did it, not one of them, because it's funner. Let me read Keith said, and then I'm going to talk just that, because I just said the info of the possibility of what is and isn't. God of the Bible is Goldaba. Sophia was the mother who banished him to this realm because he was not balanced. He then created this system and us to trap the true light energy of Puma, home of the parent gods. Now, we know this is how we all talk, and we're giving to each other now our own beliefs and thoughts. I like what Keith just said there. I understand where he's coming from, but somebody made a valid point to me last night. And this was brought up, so I have to talk about what was brought up last night because of what our brother Keith just said. This point was made, so I thought I would bring this, and he'll probably bring it to his show. Hopefully he does Tuesday night. All right. Hill City Paranormal. Check that podcast out. It is the hour prior to FAPS, Freaking Awesome Paranormal Show. So check them out on YouTube, Facebook, and all the major platforms. Sean and I got into a discussion on this very interesting point of view, talking about releasing what are we going to know? How do we know? And he brought up another valid point, which I found the slippery doo-dah day. He said that, or he asked my opinion first, or my insight, that I believe there are a multiplicity of entities on or in our planet or in our dimension. Yes, it states it in the biblical terms. It does state that. And then he makes a very valid point to me. He goes, then why is it being said that there should be no other God before me? Okay, I see where you're going with this. See? Absolutely.
Dog agrees.
It is a valid point because also it states there shall the way to God is through me. Talk about Joshua. Well, that's two. That's two. Do you see it? You got to go through Joshua, but you can't use a deity to help you portray this. All things go through God. But there's deities here specifically to help the human race. Do y'all fucking not understand what I just said? There's other entities that were here, are here, should hear, to help the human race. But there were slights and courses of what was and is said, because we do know that the Romans had a way to control the factor using language. So there are some slippity-doo-dah days in the biblical.
Dude,
Hey, they get to use wibbly wobbly woo. I'm saying
this is true.
I should bring him back. Hey, what do you think about that wibbly wobbly woo on that one? So now here's the part that can scare the shit out of a lot of people. And I kind of got to me a little bit, but then I realized, if the time was here, the time was here, and it was going to happen. Right? So our brother Keith just stated it said by fire, right? Maybe the trial by fire. Words at play, trial by fire. And may I state this? What if that trial by fire was our own mistake, our own problem that we created to ourselves? What if that trial by fire is actually a nuclear war that devastates us all?
Could be.
It's fire. It is fire. Something I want y'all to think about. Now, I know a lot of you now are going, oh, no. Well, actually, this is going to get a lot more interesting now. I told you I was going to tickle your brain, and now I'm going to go back to your cortex on where your dino brain is, and I'm going to go blah, 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 blah. It's going to get really fun now. Do you want to try to read that, or you want me to read it?
He stated he's a jealous God. If there were no other gods, why would he be jealous? Bible said we will create man in our image. Original translation that was later changed. And then Renee said trial by combat.
Interesting 2 points. Again, I did say it's the terms used against and what was said. And I've always said it, and I'll say it again. You want to know what the Bible really says? Go ask a Jew. They'll be more than happy to tell you what it really means. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. So, meaning combat equal fire. Yes, I got you. We got you. Yes, I like that. Meaning combat equals fire. 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 Yeah, fire. All right, sorry. Got to put a little humor in there. So, let's drop down into ufology, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah. Rhonda, how much do you know about the alien interaction with the United States defense system and ufology or extraterrestrials?
Very little.
What do you know?
I mean, just clearly they've been here. We know they've been here. The government just tells us they've been here. It's been something that's hidden from us or tried to be. That's about it.
Okay. Hey, that's why we all share. There's things I know, things you know, and I can share with you. Like you share with me, and we share with everyone.
That's why I was so that's why I even suggested to you, it's like, let's do this, the conspiracy thing, because there's so much I don't understand.
And I love it. That's what we need to do, and that's why we're doing it. Now, twice documented the military openly states there were 2 nuclear missile tests that have taken place from 64 to now. I'm not going to give dates. I'm not going to give where. You want that? Go research it, but it's pretty there. Okay? Just not going to go into that right now. However, the first time on this particular nuclear missile test, the missile was fired from its silo. As it went up, a UAP, wait, I'm going to use doctor's terminology, not Dr. Who, but if you know who I'm talking about, Blue Book, the doctor's terminology, because that's where it came from, UFO. this particular object interfered with the flight pattern and direction of this said missile. In fact, what is supposedly said, it is said, it's documented, and there's actually video footage of it, was this object shot 4 different beams. Beams, I didn't say laser. I don't know if it was a laser. I don't know if it's photon, proton. I don't know what they're using. I don't know if it's plasma. I don't know if it's an energy weapon as far as frequency or vibrations. We don't know their technology as of yet or it could be used. Let's be honest real quick about that. It's like the paranormal. We don't fucking know. Okay?
Well, I mean, yeah, we don't know. Just like we didn't know what was going to happen yesterday happened for sure. We know it might be coming. We were told, what was it, 2 weeks? Sometime in the next 2 weeks, a decision would be made. Why would we be notified before it happened?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Well,
That was well said. Keith, I'm going to read your comments in just a second. And to follow through, exactly good point. So they test this missile. This particular missile was hit 4 times. And at this point, the head, the nuclear device, nuclear device, was deactivated where it cannot be activated again. Completely disarmed. And then the missile fell to the ground. So it pretty much did an ED. Okay, for those people who are out there and want a little chuckle. He was like, yeah, boom. Okay, is a missile ED. All right, we're going.
No, I don't.
No. So this was the first time. Years later, it happened again. Now, with that being said, I'm going to read this. Did it happen in the same place? No, it was not the same place. It was a different base. Very similar certain circumstances. Now, and I'm going to explain something after I read what he has to say, because I'm going to tie this up with what he ended with, because it's going to get interesting because it goes back to 1942. Here we go. There are still copies of the original Ethiopian Bible that contain all of the books. Yes, it is. Now, he also states, let's go back to there. He says astronauts reported snake-like physical beings outside of their craft. Now, I've heard about that too. Now, here's the thing about this one. I have to play devil's advocate. Out in space, astronauts reported seeing snakes out in space. Do we know there's an outer space? Do we know there's a moon?
We don't.
Oh, that's the crazy thing. And this is why it leads to, could this be a matrix form situation? Could be. That's where we have to put faith in people and the things. I know it just got really screwed up, but I'm being honest with you. If you go to fact, there's no fact that there's anything beyond space except for what we've been shown and told.
I mean, you're right about that. If you think about it, if you start going to conspiracies, there's a whole bunch of that. But we're told they go to outer space. We get pictures. We get stuff. We don't know for sure. They just didn't land somewhere and go on vacation for a bit.
Right? Which we're going to talk about in one of our shows, by the way.
I mean, now that you say that.
Yep. So the possibility of the so-called aliens coming from outer space could very well be coming from somewhere on our planet. Water or other theories. Okay. Just putting it out there. And I'm not saying this is my opinion, but I am giving that open statement of going the endless amount of possibilities. Oh,
Yeah.
you little son of a bitch.
Yeah, I don't think either one of us is saying this is what we believe, but it's the things that suddenly you'll say something. I'm like, good question.
Mm-hmm.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, going along with that, it says Keith also follows up with UFOs showed up and deactivated the nuke. See, he's catching on. He knew where I was going with this. They did. and on multiple occasions from around the world, not just the New World, that this activity is taking place over their militarized zones. For those of you who need to know, I'm throwing thumbs up and smiling. Modulate my ass. So these things, supposedly all the governments, everybody's had their little connection or whatever. Now I'm going to go back to what I was saying, and then I'm going to read Renee's. Now, I like the fact that he said, UFOs showed up and deactivated the nuke. Okay. However, this particular shape, oh, that's good. I like that one, shape, of the entity's objects on both times and other situations go back to what we just experienced in December. Oh God, did I say that out loud? Yes. Now, also, here's the interesting part, and this will be on one of our shows on Clockwork. There were little silver spheres that have been found around the world that are not man-made. These spheres are about this big, and these spheres are over 24 pounds in their weight. They should not be that heavy. They have certain properties. They have shown these properties. Why am I bringing this up? Because now I'm going to shoot back to 1942 to 1944. 1942 to 1944. United States Army Air Corps flight pilots and crews observing spheres, bright lights around their planes as they were doing their air missions from the Army Air Corps. Now, not only did the United States document this, but guess who else did? The same people that we went and took and said, you're going to work for us now. Dun, dun, dun. The Germans. The Nazi regime at the time, documentation of sphere-like objects interacting with their Messerschmitts, their bombers, and even at the times that they were working on their newer planes, their new jets. Now, boom, let's move forward a little bit. After the war, a gentleman's flying his plane. This gentleman's still part of the Army Air Corps, all right, but he was flying, I do believe, a Cessna, doing Army reconnaissance, going to one to another, when in fact he experienced two things. First, a slip in time dimension, loss of time. Two, an entire flight wing of sphere-like lights passing in front of him and then doing maneuvers that no plane could do at that time. Now, here's the funny part about this, folks. And I chuckle because three people that are very popular in today's ufology and in Hollywood, Diane, actually did this research and talks about it clearly. The government claims that it's just swamp gas. I don't know how swamp gas can go 3,000 miles per hour, and I don't know how swamp gas can do a fast right turn at a 90 degree in a split second, but okay, sure, swamp gas. Right, okay. Now, where am I leading into this? Well, let me read these and we'll continue going. Renee says, what if certain titans helped with the nuclear incident? What if the titans are our aliens along with others? Oh, interesting point. I like where you went with that. Keith Ottersberg states there are stories of a time when there was no moon. Fact. That was brought here, or it was formed by a collision of another planet and the Earth. There are several theories of that, but Keith is right on that statement. There are documentations of native tribes talking about when the moon showed. So it's fact. People, men, have been watching the moon in the sky ever since we were here. They've been looking to the sky. I don't think they're going to get it wrong, folks. Sorry, just don't. He continues with also stories of the Titans being created by the Anunnaki DNA experiment. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. Now, we're going to go back, and Keith says, Tic Tacs? Please stay tuned. Come to one of our Clockwork Orange shows. I just did that orange because I just had to do it. That was like felt good to. One of our Clockwork shows. We're going to talk about the Tic Tac. We're going to talk about the situations that there's a good possibility Tic Tacs are man-made. That's right, folks. And they're made for other races.
Huh.
So we're going to talk about in that specifically in a future case. But they say that Tic Tacs, these are one form of a vehicle. And they say the reason why you see so many different types of UAPs is because they're all for certain missions.
That would make sense.
It does make sense.
It makes sense.
And in the future shows, when we talk about, we're going to explain the Tic Tacs, where these Tic Tacs could be made, created, and what's taken place since 1962. Now, if we've had interaction with intelligent life by 1962, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Now, where am I leading with all of this? We're almost at the show, but it's full circle, baby. Every time.
Every time.
Keith says, swamp gas my ass. That needs to be a country song.
That could go so many different ways, though.
I love it. Lisa says the Bible mentions giants, the Titans. Yes, ma'am, it does. Multiple times, not just one. And actually, there are multiple religions who talk about the great large people, the giants, and actually talk about dragons. Now, why am I bringing this up and how does this come full circle? Look at that time. I don't even prep this shit. This is awesome. Because this is my point. If aliens do exist and they are true, and we have nuclear weapons, and if the great creator said, I will not tell you when this shall take place, 2030 might get really interesting. Really interesting. Y'all might want to start researching 2030. We're either going to do it to ourselves or something else is going to do it to us. We've got to learn to fight it now. Raise your vibration. Start getting yourself higher and higher. You're going to need to, or you're not going to survive. Now, with that being said, how is this talking about the last 24 hours? The last 24 hours have brought forth the events and changes that could bring on the Great War. What's been done could very well start World War III. Now, why am I talking about this? It's negative, blah, blah, blah. Well, let me tell you something. If the conspiracy factor is true and there is intelligent life, and we know that they supposedly do not want us to eradicate ourselves because we're stupid roach-like humans of the world and in the great universe, all we like to do is blow up stuff. Well, maybe there wouldn't be a so-called World War III if those came here keeping us from doing the stupid things that was done thousands of years ago. If this intelligent life exists, or it could be, and I'm leaving this with you tonight, or it could be that the nuclear war, World War III, is the existence of what was talked about biblically in the Great Fire, also prophesied by Nostradamus and Edgar Casey. I want you all to think about this. We have time right now. There's so many people that said they see us existing all the way up to 2030. Well, if there's a great war, how are we going to exist up to 2030? How are people seeing beyond certain points? Am I fucking tickling your brain right now? Are you understanding what I'm saying? How are these predictions being made if there is no prediction beyond that point of time? Pop goes the weasel. Now, let me read this. Keith says red-haired giants with 2 sets of teeth. Yep. Renee, 2023 equals number 5. Change. 2027. I'm sorry, 2023 equals 7. Kevin says hello. Now, let me read these. We'll wrap it up tonight. Keith, by destroying their all capabilities of making new Uruwakas, that's right, I said it too, should be seen as a positive to the aliens, in my opinion. Next should be gotten rid of. Renee signifies completion. Circle. How many of you have been hearing and talking about rings, not even on the ground, but in the skies the last 6 months? Perfection and divine wholeness. It is often associated with God's creative power, rest, and the establishment of his covenant. Or her covenant. So I end this to you tonight as we get ready for our new format here at the show to think about what we talked about tonight. How do people see the future if there is no future? We have the ability to change. The government's been changing it. We can change it. We can change what the government's trying to do. And I didn't say what government, did I? I said government. I didn't say which way.
Right.
So we have this chance. We have this opportunity to make things right. I'd rather take that right road and not the left road. Left road, we don't need to go there. We need to exist on a higher plane with conscious, clear understanding, love, and patience, and let anger and hate be destroyed.
Right.
Ronnie, hello, and thank you. We're sorry. We're about to end the show.
Later, Ronnie.
But definitely check out the archive, my friend. I will read what Keith said. Let's bring in CERN and them wanting to build an even bigger one. That will be on one of the Clockwork series. Yes. Conspiracy, but based in fact. There is a lot of fact in science. Science is fact. I like that. Kevin just dropped it. 2030 equals 5. Bam. So, travelers and those alike, thank you so much for hanging with Rhonda and myself tonight. Our new series, Clockwork, is going to be talking about conspiracy theories, giving you a timeline, when they started, how they started. And not all conspiracy is negative. Not all conspiracy is myth and legend.
True.
Remember that. And I might have scared you with some of the stuff that I talked about tonight, but I hope I did. And I'm going to tell you why. I hope I did, so you think. Where and who are we really? Where and who are we really? Are we growing? Or is this society really getting worse? Or is it the people that are actually leveling up, seeing the worst in society? On that note, I hope you all have a most magnificent and special week, and I hope to see you very soon. May virtue be yours.
Do good shit this week.
I like that. Do good shit. That's right. Make some changes. Let's do it together.